Chapter.
I'm waiting. Hello, hello, hello. We are live. What time is it today? It's 10 o'clock. It's time for coffee and conversations with Melissa. I am so excited for my guest for today because he is the one that is going to be one of the leaders in the Network Expo on March 31st. What time is that? 7 to 8:30, which are probably like 400 signed in this networking expo. And I'm excited for you to meet the awesome Robbie Samuels or of No More Bad Zoom.
Thank you for having me here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this event.
Yeah, so let's talk about this network Zoom. What is network Zoom? Network Expo? Like a bunch of leaders of
Yes,
like,
the Network Expo is such a great idea. I came kind of late to the game. Other people had the idea before me, but a bunch of people who host networking events came together, and there were, I think, two or three groups came together, and they said that was great. Why don't we do that with more groups, which is what they're doing. So the Network Expo is a trade show of networking organizations. So there's about 20 organizations that host some kind of virtual networking event, and it's quite a range. Lawyer groups, my group, which is a No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hour. There's a group, the BNI, the Business Networking International folks will be there. So quite a range of groups, but it gives an opportunity for the folks who attend to visit our virtual booths in different breakout rooms and learn about what we're doing. So it's 7 o'clock Eastern time on March 31st, this Wednesday, and I hope that folks will join, and I'm sure you'll give them the link to do so.
and the good thing about this is really a collaboration. Like the leaders are really like, we put all our connections together, and it's a chance for the networkers, for the attendees to wash up what is the uh, uh, additional networking for them. And for those who I invited, I told them not to go to my Coffee Connect because they already know me already. For those of you who would love to know, he is really, really awesome, Robbie Samuels. And you can visit his booth, his break room on the Network Expo. And the good thing about this is the first time for me to experience this. I thought I'm rocking the break room. I didn't know about this the break room that you can name on it. So I experienced it with our Robbie's No More Bad Zoom. It's so much fun. It's like, oh my god, and then you can in and out and go to another. It's nothing personal if you go out to another room, and it's really fun.
Yeah, so thanks for coming to my event. So every Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern, I host the No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hour. I started hosting this on March 13th, 2020. And as you mentioned, it's a mixture of content and connection. So I teach a little bit about Zoom strategies and best practices at the beginning of the call. And then we have a series of breakout rooms. Sometimes every other week we have a special guest come in and do a demo for 20 minutes on something related to creating engaging online experiences. But the last breakout rooms that we do, there's over a dozen topics, and participants can move between those rooms, which is as close as you can get to sort of the in-person experience of moving around and finding people you have. Actually, it's even better than in person because you get to find people who share a common interest or a common experience and connect with them around that. So yeah, I love it. NoMoreBadZoom.com is the way to find out about that. And I just shared that we were co-sponsoring the Network Expo in another email that went out today. So I'm hoping that all the folks that, we've had 1,400 people sign up for the my weekly event. I hope a bunch of them come to this expo and sign up so they can experience it as well.
Yes, and then let's get to know you more a little bit. I know you wrote a book about networking at events. What should we be looking for in a virtual networking event?
Thanks for asking. So yes, I did write a book called Croissants versus Bagels: Strategic, Effective, and Inclusive Networking at Conferences. and that came out in 2017, and it had 150 Amazon reviews within 1 week. So it had a big launch, and now it's, I think, about 250 reviews worldwide. So the focus there was on going to the conference, which is a little different because now we stay home and we log on to the conference. We're not at the event, but a
Mhm.
lot of it's the same. Like, you want to look for events that attract the kind of people you want to be networking with. So I try to test out different groups, now and again. I've had lots of opportunities. People are always referring me. But this is why you want to get a sense. This is why the Network Expo is such a great opportunity to just get a sense of, by reading descriptions, by meeting some people, will this event attract the kind of people I want to be meeting? And really, that question depends on, who do you want to meet? Like, sometimes you want to meet clients, sometimes you want to meet peers who are doing similar work, who
Mhm.
you could collaborate with, or be in a peer mastermind with, or an accountability partner with. So it depends on what you're looking for, whether a group is right for you. But doing a little bit of due diligence beforehand is a good idea, whether you're logging on or going to the event, because none of us have the time to go to 20 events a week. We have to be selective. So doing a little bit of research ahead of time and asking some questions would be a good idea.
That's very interesting. The title is Croissant versus Bagels.
Yeah, so let me explain that.
That is interesting. I
So
like them both.
all right, so here's the book. So and I
Tell
had
us
a
something
copy
a
somewhere.
little bit, like a tease. Like
Yeah,
what?
no, I'll tell you. The So when you walk into if you're in person, you walk into a networking event, people tend to stand in those tight clusters, those shoulder to shoulder huddles that are impossible to break into.
Yeah,
Those are the
croissant.
bagels,
Oh, the bagels.
because
Oh,
they're tight and you can't break
because
into
it's
them.
circle, it's tight. Okay.
Yeah, but if somebody shifts their body language and makes space for others to join, then you get more of an open, right? An opening. That
Yes.
opening is the croissant. And
Wow.
it's also about body language. I was, I talked on, I spent over a decade speaking about this topic, and on, eye contact, business cards, shaking hands, and body language,
Yeah,
which March 2020, I was like, well, none of that really is relevant for now. So I
that's
shifted into the world of virtual, and I'm now a virtual event design consultant and executive Zoom producer. And I help
wow.
national and statewide advocacy organizations strategically bring their events online with less stress and greater participant engagement. I also train speakers and presenters and meeting professionals to become certified virtual event professionals. So I have gone completely into the world of virtual with an idea on how do we leverage these moments and create really engaging events. So coming to my Friday No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hours is a chance to
Yes,
experience that.
definitely. And I will definitely probably would like to host that for you to be a speaker. We can talk about that later. I really like the title. I've been thinking croissant and bagel. That is very, and the description is so perfect. It's really networking. It's like, so the bagel is bad, croissant is better.
In a sense, for networking, I was also raised in New York, so I love the bagels. Unless I'm in Montreal or Paris, in which case I love the croissant. But for
Really?
networking purposes, I think it's good to think about, if you're there to meet people, then you should have a body language that's open, right?
Yes.
And
What is the
sometimes
body
we
language
default to
without?
being closed.
Yeah, what is the body language without open? I don't know how to do that. Like that,
Just,
you're
well, people
doing
are
this.
closed, they turn their
Yeah.
back to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Similarly, if you're in a breakout room and someone hasn't said anything, like encouraging them to share something, inviting them to speak, those are the kind of things to do, to be, again, like acting those principles out, even in an online space.
Have you thought about, because we cannot have bagels and croissant in Zoom? Have you thought about like in Zoom?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
that,
when you're networking, like I said, when you're networking in those circles, particularly in those breakout rooms, like where people can move between the rooms, how you welcome the newcomer. That's the idea. Like,
yes,
when someone
yes,
joins your group, how do you say, even in chat, do you sort of acknowledge them with a little wave and then write in chat, here's what we're talking about? I mean, that's the nice thing to do. And in person, it might be, literally doing this to wave someone in who's hovering near the edge, and then saying, oh, we were just listening to so and so talk about their, trip to Alaska, and then they can keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have to prepare differently for virtual networking than we did for in-person events?
Mm, I it's similar. There's a lot of similarities. If people are doing the work ahead of time to be choosy about which events they go to and why they're going to them, the prep time is to really think about who you want to meet and what do you want them to know about you. And one of the tips that I shared years ago that got picked up and written about in first in Ink and then in uh, Ink and then I'll think of the other what the one is, but it, the idea was to write your follow-up email before you go to the event, which seems kind of strange. But if you draft what you'd want people to know about you, and then you plan time afterwards to send follow-up messages, then you're more likely to do the follow-up because it's not just about going to the events; it's about developing relationships. And
Yes.
so that's one thing. Now, one additional thing that's different is that in person, I would say make sure 10 days beforehand that you've ordered extra business cards if you don't have enough business cards. Whereas, that's not a factor here. But what you could do is instead write out and review what text you might want to put into chat about yourself, which will be different depending on the event. Now, I think some people have gotten a little carried away with this and they start dropping introduction paragraphs into chat uh, within the first few minutes of an event. And that's similar to me as to the behavior in person of spray and pray, where you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of toss your business cards out to people and hope
Mm-hmm.
that it lands and sticks somewhere. But so I do think you should write out anything that you might want to write. For instance, at the very minimal, have your LinkedIn spelled out, in a place you can copy it. And with links, it's really important that you put http colon slash slash in front
Yes.
of any www dot website. So, or else it's not a hyperlink. Because if you want to give people the opportunity to click through to, maybe sign up to something or join you on your LinkedIn, etc. But yeah, writing that out ahead of time was one thing that I would say is a little bit different. And the rest of it's really the same, like researching who's going to be there, what you can learn about, is there going to be a sponsor or a speaker, and then thinking about your purpose and going.
Yeah. So, how often do we have to attend before we see value for our effort? How do we stand out?
Yeah, I mean the scattershot attendance of going randomly to things and not going with any focus is not as effective as going quickly in a succession. So going 3 times in 3 months or 3 times in 3 weeks, if it's a weekly event, you'll become a regular very quickly. But if
Mm-hmm.
you went 3 times in 12 months, every time you showed up, you'd be a newcomer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
effort's the same as far as like the showing up part, but the impact is very, very different. The outcome is very, very different. So I would say that each quarter, make sure you sort of pick a new group that you're gonna like investigate and check out, and then be very, very present. Show up, and one way to stand out, actually, I was speaking about writing things in chat that you pre-wrote. One of the things I do, and I don't even think about it, I just do it automatically, is if a resource is mentioned by the speaker, maybe it's a website or it's a book, anything, I will go and find the link for that resource and drop it into chat immediately. Like I was just automatically go do
Oh,
that. And if you become a person, I've done this on webinars where you can't even see other participants, and I've had people private message me to thank me. Then when I share my contact info, there's a lot of people who are excited. Like they're like, "Oh, that's a person I know I want to connect with because I've been very generous." It
yeah.
doesn't take anything to be generous in that format, though, and that's something you can't do in person very easily. So here you could quickly search for something, drop the link into chat for the book, for the website, for the tool, and people are very grateful. I also drop occasionally like a little pro tip, like or like a here's how to save chat, or don't forget to put http colon slash slash before your
Yeah.
www, and I give them an example. I'm like, here's something that someone just posted, and here's it with the hyperlink that you can click on, and little things like that. Like how can you add value, helping people make better use of this technology in little ways. And again, it's not, doesn't take a huge amount of effort on my part, but it's a way to stand out, whether you've got cameras on or whether you're on a webinar. Just being kind of a person who's thinking with a host mentality the entire time. What can you do to add value and help other people? If you think of it
Mhm.
that way, then I'm sure you'll come with even more ideas than what I just suggested.
Yes, we have a new guest here. Hello, Bongai. How are you doing? It says hello, Robbie. She said Bongai is one of my members. She is the founder of the End Child Marriages in Zimbabwe. It's good. So nice to see you, Bongai. So you've been hosting No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hours for over a year, and 50% of your participants attended 9 or more times,
Yeah.
and 20% have attended 20 or more times. What is different about your networking event? Why do you think so many people keep coming back, even though it's another Zoom event at the end of a long week of Zoom meetings?
Yeah, it's a good question because people, uh, I'm always hearing are like zoomed out or Zoom fatigue, and it's just
Yes.
like, oh, and the idea of going to another Zoom just makes no sense to them. But once you experience this Friday event, I think it changes their mind, and I know that you had a chance to come. When the pandemic first happened, a lot of people started hosting virtual happy hours, virtual summits, like just trying to show up and add value, which was wonderful. Um, the ones that were purely social have sort of faded over time. They were not like focused enough. They didn't attract like a niche of people, and it just was too broad. So I
Yes.
think the reason mine works is that it's a mixture of content and connection, which I mentioned earlier, because to me, events are and always have been that mixture of content and connection. And just
Yes.
because it's virtual doesn't mean like we're exempt from that. Like, virtual events are not an exception, particularly because they're now synonymous with events. So I think the fact that people are coming and they're learning from me, they're seeing me they're learning because I'm teaching, but they're also watching how I facilitate, MC, host, present, right? Like introduce people, all that stuff. They're watching how I'm doing it, and I'm revealing. I will pull back the curtain at any point and reveal how I'm doing it. So the first 75 minutes is that mixture of content and networking. The first 20 minutes, we're saying hello, we're sort of setting the stage. I do a little participant orientation to make sure everyone knows how to use Zoom properly. Um, I explain my philosophy of why I'm hosting these events, a year now of free events, and they're 2.5 hours a week, actually. So it's a bit of a time commitment plus the prep time. So, but it's been so, and it's free, but it's so been valuable to me, and it's helped me launch an entirely new business. And then I love this breakout room. We do a breakout room.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 people for 6 minutes where everyone gets to share their win-win, their personal win and their professional win. And then afterwards, when they come back to the main room, I ask for nominations. And so people get nominated. Sometimes first timers get nominated to share briefly with all of us their win for the week. And
Yeah.
that's just been such a wonderful way again to end the week, to recognize people, to learn about each other, what's important, what stands out for them. Then we either have another breakout room with a very specific question that we change questions all the time. The goal is for people to get to know each other, or every other week we have a guest come in. And then we have the breakout rooms I described earlier where people can choose between 12 or more topics and kind of float between the rooms. After that first 75 minutes or so, maybe an hour and a half, then it morphs into Q&A, and I answer questions until 7:30 Eastern because I want to help people. We answer the more generous like questions that everybody would be interested in hearing the answer towards the beginning of that period. But if people have a really specific, I want to test this out, then we do those a little later. Sometimes people are like, can you see whether we can do polls in breakout rooms? So we tested it. It was like, no, you can't use polls in breakout rooms. Can we record this? Can we do this? And I'm like, let's test it. So we've tested a lot of things over time. It's been really fun. And we get about 60 participants each week. They're very generous, good-hearted people. We tend to attract entrepreneurs or entrepreneurially minded people, speakers, coaches, podcast hosts, authors, people who have online courses or would like to, virtual summits or would like to. So we tend to attract that community of
Yes.
people. small business owners, all, or side hustles. And so they found lots of ways to collaborate with each other. People have found friendships and business partners, and it's amazing how you can get to know people just
Yes.
showing up to this one event on a regular basis. So I think that 50% have been there 8 or 9 more times because this is their community, and there are people who've been coming since last May, since last June, consistently. Like, they write me an email to let me know they're not able to make it that week and tell me why. It's so wonderful. And we've become like a little community, a little family. And honestly, without this weekly event, I don't know how I would have known that a week had gone by, because every day last year was Blur's Day. My business took off. So I went from speaking about networking at events, speaking at those events, helping run those events, to I had zero business. Everything went away. And I wrote 9 ways to network in a pandemic. And the next day, on March 13th, I hosted my first virtual happy hour. Mid-April, I set up a registration page at nomoorebadzoom.com. And
Mm-hmm.
I announced that I was going to be running a 4-week pilot program in May. I ran the pilot. It went so well that I ran it 4 months in a row. It became a certification program, and that's the 5% Advantage program, where people can become certified virtual event professionals. And now it's like I don't know, it's like a 2-month program, including the time I spend with them one-on-one for their certification video. And then I started getting hired to host and MC and produce events for my clients. So within 8 months, I had this new 6-figure business, all new revenue streams, and it's continued to grow into 2021. It's the best thing. So in a way, this is my way of giving back. I know this has not been an easy time for a lot of people. So me hosting this event, I don't know, it just feels like the right thing to be doing, and I'm loving it. So I'm actually taking a week off in April, and I've got 2 coaching calls for my two coaching. I do business growth strategy. So I'm also have 2 private clients. So I'm keeping those calls. And then I'm doing this one event on Friday for our community, or No More Bad Zoom, because I wouldn't want to give it up. Everything else I'm taking off, but those are the things I'm keeping.
You are so awesome, and I'm so happy I'm connected with you. You are really, when I met you at the Network Expo, you are on point. Whatever you say, oh my God, this man is on point. It's like I would love to connect with him. And then honestly, if we build this kind of relationship that we really support each other. You really support me with all my questions, with all the questions I have, and you are very helpful. And I'm thankful that I am connected to you.
Well, I wanted to share one more thing for anyone who's coming to the Network Expo. I encourage you to stop by the No More Bad Zoom Virtual Happy Hour Breakout Room, because I am giving away 5 PDF downloads that each have between 5 and 7 links to Zoom best practices, strategy, tip videos that I've made. I've created over 60 videos on my YouTube, but each of them has like, each page is focused on a specific subset of questions. So one is getting started, one is what do you need to do before the event, one is about breakout rooms, one's about online facilitation, etc. And so I'm going to be giving that away to everyone who comes to my group. And if anyone who signs up for that will be entered to win a 30-minute consultation with me, either to discuss virtual event design, like your upcoming event, or and I'll do one-on-one helping you think about how to run your event without my team, but just how do you do it for yourself. Or if you want to talk about business growth strategies, because that's the other hat that I wear all the time, is thinking about how do you like add, I don't know, hosting a group program or a podcast or a book or some other new revenue stream to your business. So yeah, stop by, and we'd love to meet you, and we'll be probably playing a little music and having a good time.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we get to know more about you and your business and what you do. Maybe we can get a little more closer to you. Maybe I can ask some, personal questions that you can ask. Whoops. What is the first thing people usually notice about you?
I think that in person it might be different than online. I think online they might notice this hunkin' microphone that's blocking my face. I think my smile is the answer, though,
Yes.
probably online or in person, because
Yes.
I once had an actor come off stage at a community theater and thank me for beaming at her the entire time they were on stage. So she said it was really helpful.
That is good. So, who is your biggest supporter?
Well, there's two women who have completely changed my life. One is I married incredibly well. My wife, Jess, has been absolutely my biggest supporter. She said to me years ago before we got married that I had greater earning potential than her because I'm very entrepreneurial and was willing to take risks. And she has been willing to sit back and watch me take those risks without getting in my way. And I'm so glad that they're paying off. And the other person is my mentor and coach,
Mhm.
Dory Clark. And Dory Clark has just been a believer in me for more than a decade, has had my back, has given me wonderful opportunities, amazing introductions, and incredible knowledge. So really, really grateful for both of them for how they've just supported my life and impacted what I'm able to do.
That's good. So, what is the kindest thing you've ever done in stranger?
Well, years ago we did do that thing where you're in such a weird thing I haven't thinking about. I was at Taco Bell drive-through
Mm-hmm.
and we paid for the order behind us because we thought it might start something where they would then pay for the order behind them. And I don't know whether that happened, but we have no idea what happened from it, which is kind of what was so fun about it. But we were like, "What's the order behind us?" Okay, we're gonna buy that. And
That's
I just think about
nice.
them pulling up and finding out that their meal was paid for. So
Yeah. Every time, every time I go to, I think many times, like 5 times, somebody pays my Starbucks coffee. And then in the toll, somebody's paying my toll. What the heck is going on? That's why I'm forwarding it too. Or
I got it
somebody
paid
pays
for.
for
That's right.
me. Yeah, paying it forward, something like that. I think that's the best way to do. Like, I love spreading positivity.
Yes.
When you said smile, that's the number one rule in Network Like a Boss. That's my one rule in Network Like a Boss is smile, because that's the very, very appealing to people, to attract people to go to you. So this is what I always ask for in networking. So we get to know you more, we get to know you more personally. So what are the three good referrals for you?
Sorry, what was the question?
What are the three good referrals for you? I'm
Oh,
very bad with
referrals.
referral. I'm
Yeah.
very bad with R.
Yes, thank you. Um, I guess another way for you to ask that question would be, who are your ideal clients?
All
That
right, good idea,
next
Paris.
time.
Yes, yes, the best way. Okay.
So, okay, so I actually this is great because I have more than one. I'm a multi hyphenate kind of person. I do a lot of different things. So for my certification program, the 5% Advantage program, where you get to become a certified virtual event professional, hashtag No More Bad Zoom. It's really great for anyone who's presenting or thinking about becoming a Zoom producer themselves and producing virtual events. I go through how to use Zoom, online facilitation, and virtual event design to create more engaging online experiences. And it's a very hands-on, experiential event program. So it's a lot of doing, but that's how you learn this. And I only offer it 3 times a year. So the next one will be in the May-June timeframe. Um, and the other ideal client is I work with national and statewide advocacy organization, mission driven organizations. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. It could be an employer resource group within a large company, but just a group of people that have a mission in mind to do better in the world, to help the world be better. I love working with those organizations. I have a background in nonprofit. I'm a mission driven person personally. So I think it's just been wonderful. But I can help them whether it's an hour long event or a 5-day event. Me and my team can help produce it. I do strategy, training, um, speaker prep, the running of the event itself, the producing of the event, like running all the technical breakout rooms and recording and all of that. I MC and then help them with a debrief to think about how they can do it even better next time. So I love doing this, and it's you can hire anybody to like just push the buttons and open the rooms, but I love doing the strategy. For me, it's purpose first design. So not just like, oh, we have the ability to do this thing, let's just use it. I'm like, but why? Like, what was the purpose of
Yes.
your event, and is it meeting your goals? And I think that's actually one of the things when you and I first met. It was a network expo planning meeting that was the only one I actually went to because I learned about it so last minute. But there was some questions that came up about the design of the event, and I said, the people were weighing the pros and cons. I said, well, it really depends on what was the purpose of the event. And so we actually changed the structure of the event and made much longer amount of time. Like the
Yes.
bulk
Thanks
of
to
the time
you.
is
Thanks to
now
you.
people get to go in and out of all these breakout rooms to visit with different groups. Like that is the purpose. It's not a networking event in a traditional sense where participants are there to meet each other. They're there to meet the exhibitors, the sponsors. So that's how I think about that. And then I also do business growth strategy. I tend to work with entrepreneurs who've been in business for at least 2 or 3 years, often longer, sometimes even 2 decades, but they're at a point where they're ready to add something new to their business. It could, be a new revenue stream is usually a part of it. They're
Yes.
shifting your personal branding. They're trying to like spend less time doing one-on-one and maybe doing more group work. They might
Yeah.
be thinking about a book or a podcast, some other way of getting content out to the world, increasing their visibility, their recognition as an expert. And so I work with them on product market fit and lead generation. And then as they kind of master those two pieces, then I'll help them with their sales conversion. So really like help them with a sales conversation, getting really comfortable with that. And I'm very selective. I only work with a few people at a time.
Mhm.
But I love the work and I love the people that are attracted to working with me. They tend to be entrepreneurial women in their 50s and beyond, although the two people I'm working with now don't actually fit that description. So it's not exclusively that. But it tends to be people who've been at this for a while, know they have a lot to learn, but also have a network to build from and a lot of experience to build from. So it's the transformations are amazing. They sign up for either a 6 or 12 month coaching contract with me, and often continue for longer than that. So it's been so powerful to watch their transformations.
That's awesome. Nice to get to know you, Robbie. So where can they connect with you if they want to connect with you?
So you can always sign up at nomoorebadzoom.com because that will get you signed up for the weekly event and added to my email list. You can go to robbiesamuels.com to learn everything else. We're going to have a new website revealed in about 2 weeks, which I cannot wait for. I've been working on it for months. But you will find everything I mentioned today there as well. My book, my podcast is called On the Schmooze. If you see my book, Croissants versus Bagels, you'll see free master classes that I've created on everything from should I host a podcast, book launch strategies, discovering our ideal clients. I have a lot of free content on my website as well. And I look forward to connect with people. I'm on LinkedIn, for instance, is a great place to connect with me. I'm easy to find. I'm on all the channels. I'm just Robbie Samuels.
And he is on LinkedIn too, Robbie Samuels.
Yes,
So,
LinkedIn. That's right, Robbie Samuels.
yeah, thank you so much. And those people, those businesses that I invite to that work expo, go ahead and go visit No More Bad Zoom at the Network Expo on March 31st. Thank you so much, Robbie, for your awesome support for these coffee and conversations with Melissa. And then looking forward to our more collaborations.
Thank you for inviting me,
Yes.
Melissa.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you soon. Bye. I forgot how to stop. Okay, how will I? Where will I stop this? I forgot how to stop this because it's been doing for a long time. So, okay, I just got.
And now I can just take over her show. But I'm going to head out. Bye, everybody.